Still dogging on the weekends, are we? That's going to be the start bit. Right, okay.
No comment.
Here we go.
There's something I've been meaning to say. It's been circling my head for days. I feel your love. I feel your love. I feel your love. Yeah, I feel your love. There's something I've been meaning to say. I feel your love. It's been circling my head for days.
Hello, so welcome to episode 3 of Like I Am, music podcast where we chat all about music with anybody who does music, I guess. Today we're joined by two fellas who make up the duo Scribble Victory. We're here with Jamie Compton and Tom Ward. How are we doing, fellas?
Hello, how are you? You alright?
I'm good.
Good.
So I turned up today and you were pissed off about with some wood.
Yes, mate, yeah.
What's cracking?
Well, we're getting into woodwork, you see. The music games, we just realised it's on its arse, so...
See? It's a DIY.
That's it, mate, yeah. Joinery is the way forward, mate. Yeah, we don't play guitars, we make them now.
No.
So, no, we're just... we're in our band room, so we've kind of acquired it now. We were sharing it with two people, they've since left, so now it's ours, and we're sort of making it our own. So we've just got all the pallets, all of them, every single one, and now we're just ripping them apart and sticking them to a wall because it looks quite nice, and everyone's doing it.
It does look wicked.
This is going to be on Pinterest, mate. Honestly.
So has this been kind of COVID kind of project? Whilst you're not allowed to go out and do anything.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it kind of started only fairly recently, though, isn't it?
Yeah. It's only been probably the past couple of weeks, hasn't it? Really. It makes me laugh though, because every time we're driving out, say, a gig or something, every time we drive past like a stack of pallets, your eyes just light up. Like you've just won the lottery or something. Just like, oh, pallets!
I'm taking them home.
If we had a bigger car, I'm telling you, we'd have them.
So before we get into the proper stuff, how's the year been with everything that's been going on? Is it?
Yeah, we were actually set for probably our busiest year yet, and then obviously what happened. So, to be honest, it's nice because we've sort of ended up falling into the covers game quite a bit. Not that we're moaning about it, because it's still nice to play regularly, but we've sort of started to go back to actually writing again, which is something that we sorely missed. I don't think we actually realised how much we missed it. And then when we just started doing gigs, we've probably done about 5 gigs now, since the 4th of July when pubs reopened. And then I think things came into effect around about the first week of August. So because we'd not gigged for so long, we kind of didn't miss it. And then when we did our first gig, we realised how much we missed it.
Yeah, I felt exactly the same. It was only a really small gig, just in a little pub, in Derby, and we'd not played at that point for probably 4 or 5 months at the time, and sort of that gig, even though we were playing covers, it just kind of reinvigorated the spark that was lost. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I live alone, so I must admit, I found certain days were really difficult for me.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I didn't really want to leave the house, even though you weren't supposed to leave the house. And just getting out and doing something like that and sort of expressing yourself again, granted through covers, not through our own songs, but still just kind of reignited that spark that I think we've really, really missed. And since then, we've written 4 new songs now? 4, maybe nearly 4 or 5 new songs, and we've had a steady sort of income of gigs as well, which is really, really nice. And it's nice to be getting out again and expressing ourselves.
Yeah, it's good to have that outlet. I think that's the main thing, is when you're stuck in what everybody's stuck in, what's going on, you've finally got that outlet and you can get the music out. And
yeah, absolutely, mate. I think that's. I mean, I started tinkering around with a bit of like just getting Logic up and just doing some my own stuff. But playing and vibing, air quotes, vibing off a drummer is so much better than just playing to a drum machine. Have you been doing much music, Tom?
No, no, not really. No, I mean I've got a load of stuff at home that I can make because I'm into like electronic music as well.
Okay.
I've tried in the past to try and motivate myself to do something like that, but I've got some equipment to be able to do it, but I've never got around to actually finishing anything. It's always been just like loops, and then they've just got left, and loops, and they've just got left, and etc. etc. But apart from that, the most musical thing I probably was doing was watching drum tuition videos on YouTube. It's like watching and think, oh yeah, that's good, I should try that. And then you think to yourself, yeah, I can't do that.
Cool. So let's get into the proper stuff. First question I'm going to ask you. First album you ever bought and why?
Oh mate,
Talking with your own money, kind of,
Okay.
not for like a birthday present, I mean your own money.
do you know
What
what?
was it and why?
Mine was a compilation CD. It was the Matrix soundtrack, which, to be honest,
It's got some bangers.
yeah,
hasn't it?
it's got some bangers on there. Like it had like Deftones and a bit of Marilyn Manson on there. Rob D, Club to Death. Yeah,
Nice.
that is a belting tune, though, isn't it? It's that bit. It's the woman in the red dress scene. Yeah,
Yes.
it's really, really
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
so yeah,
Oh, wow.
I really enjoyed that.
Mine was decidedly less cool. I think I can't remember exactly what it was because I remember having Urban Hymns by The Verve, but I think that was bought for me. I don't think I
Right.
bought that with my own money. I think the first album I ever bought with my own money was The Man Who by Travis.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Wicked.
yeah, well, you know, I liked him at the time, but because I won tickets from Ram FM to go and see him in concert when Ram FM was still a thing in Derby, and it was amazing because Doves supported them. Doves were really, really good, but Travis, it was at the time that the PlayStation 2 first came out, so that's
Yeah.
how long ago it was, and they had like this massive screen at the end, the Ice Arena in Nottingham. And they had Gran Turismo 2 playing in the background, this huge screen while some guy in the crowd played it. We're all thinking, wow, look at those graphics, they're
Yeah.
amazing. On like this like 200-inch projection.
Yeah.
Looking back at it now, it's embarrassing. Looking at it now.
So with band, how did it start? How do you know each other? All that stuff.
I guess it's probably down to me, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
University project it was, just a little bit of a solo project, and then I decided to try and see if we could make it a bit of a full band experience. We had a bass player. He left. He was really angry at us because he thought we kicked him out. But
You had a bass player?
yeah, we used to.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this was
Oh, this was a long time
ages
ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So-
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It just never came out on stage.
We've been a duo since about 2013, haven't we?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Ah,
and we were just doing like really soft, understated stuff. So
okay.
yeah, about that. But we've known each other since year 6.
Mm.
So yeah,
We would have been 11?
so we've known each other.
Yeah.
For,
Yeah,
close
right.
to that,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
we've known each other since we were 11.
Musicians
Yeah.
don't do maths.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's that's pretty much how it started.
Yeah, so we've known each other since we were 11. Like I say, we've literally sat in the same class and we talked about, I think I had an MTV pencil sharpener, wasn't it? Or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah, where
nice.
you sharpen the pencil and like it changed the channel or something.
Showing your age,
weird.
Luke.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like I said, we've known each other since we're 11. We're 18 now.
Yeah.
We've known each other 7 years. No, we're older than that. Well, no, it was great because we've been in bands since we were sort of 15. We were in our first ever band together when we were 15, playing some real emo kind of stuff, you know, kind of like we were influenced by stuff like Finch, Funeral for a Friend, all that kind of
Okay.
stuff back in the day. That band then split up. Jamie did some other bands, I did another band, and then yeah, you sort of played me some Scribble stuff. I really liked it, and then you said you want to sort of jam. I was like, yeah, why not? And I'd never sung before, and so you kind of convinced me to sing and play the setup that I do drums wise now. Really, after probably doing it at Why Not that time. And then all of a sudden, yeah, it just turned into kind of spiraled, and we did our first gig together, and we've never looked back since.
So why not festival? Was that kind of in the early days?
Yeah, well, I think it was when Tom got the idea for his drum setup, playing. I'm talking on your behalf now.
That's all right.
Yeah, he got this. He used to play with a band called My Psychoanalyst, and they actually did really well, didn't they? They got signed to a London label and ended up supporting Maximo Park and stuff.
Did a Radio 1 live session.
Yeah, just Radio 1 live session. Just drop that in there. Don't forget about you. And yeah, we ended up. I think you ended up doing you had to play the acoustic stage. So you had to acoustify your sort of shoegaze sound, and you had this drum setup, which I thought was really cool. And I thought, I'd actually quite like to see that work in an acoustic fashion with Scribble Victory, and then that's how it all sort of came about.
So people that don't know you probably need to know that your drum setup is literally just floor tom, snare, cymbals.
Yeah.
It?
Hi-hat and a splash, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
And then you've got some mad sticks as well.
They're kind of like a cross between those hot rods where they're kind of like wooden and they're all really thin.
Yeah.
And then come together to make a stick. These are similar, but they're made of plastic, so they hit a little bit harder. But they get, I find now, originally we did that purely to keep the volume down, not really. But then since kind of progressing, the sticks will stay the same, but I find they get a lot sort of fatter sound out of the drums. Especially when with a floor tom, it's kind of emulating not only a floor tom but essentially a kick drum at the same time. And using those, you do get more of a fatter sound out of those, I think.
When I've watched you play, it's kind of like, even though it's just drums and acoustic guitars, there's a lot of sound coming out of the whole thing. It's wicked. It's really good sound.
Thanks, man.
So, do you remember the first time we met?
Yeah, it was at the Maze.
It was.
Yeah.
And I remember that you...
Meet and Feast. Was it the Meet and Feast? Is that what they called it?
Yeah.
Where you played and then they did a barbecue as well?
Yeah, that was it. I remember that you played.
Yeah.
I think we watched... Did we watch you?
No.
No, okay.
Sorry.
Sorry. But I remember you... I think it was either an Xbox or a PlayStation 2 that you ended up getting, and you were like... You came up, you were like, "Oh, really sorry lads, I'm going to have to go because I've got my PlayStation and my Xbox coming in," and I thought, "Well, fair enough, we didn't watch you, so that's fair enough." But then you stayed for the whole of it, and I was like really shocked. I was like, "Mate, you've got an Xbox, you've got a brand new Xbox at home waiting for you."
Yeah. 2013, 2014, brand new Xbox One turned up. I knew it was there because someone at home had picked it at the door, and then I was like, all I wanted to do was get home.
Yeah.
And then ended up sticking around.
Mate, that was like, I still remember that to this day because that's like one of the best compliments you've ever had.
And then obviously when I was at uni, we had to put part of the uni course. We had to put a gig on ourselves, and you came and played. Was one of the, we'll say support acts, but you were
Sobar.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Is that still going?
It's different people, but it's still going, raising money for people with alcohol problems and stuff like that.
Okay.
But that's the whole premise of the place. Is there's not one alcohol drink sold there, and then all the money goes to charity.
I remember it being a really nice gig, really nice
atmosphere. Very nice place.
Yeah.
And then I had about 4 or 5 mates there. I think they all brought your CD.
Yeah.
Bless them.
And my friend Ryan has still got it in his car.
Good lad.
And every time I'm with him, he'll put it on. But also, the Maze must have been around November time. So I remember saying to you, for some reason, do you know a Christmas song?
I remember that.
Yeah, and you said, we've got one of our own. And you played it. Yeah.
How did that go?
I know, you've still got it. I think you've still got it on Bandcamp.
Ooh.
But I honestly can't remember what it's called.
I cannot remember that.
Yeah, I don't know. Did we play it? Did we play?
You definitely did. You played it that night.
Really?
You said if we can work it out, you'll play it, and you did.
It does ring a bell.
Yeah, because I've written 2 Christmas songs, and neither of them are very good. But, man, I'm sorry about that. That was awful.
No, it's good. It's good. So anyway, it's like I think it's a really good story. You made that. So when you started Scribble Victory, did you have the goal of one day I want to be at Wembley Stadium, or was it literally a case of two mates, let's just have fun? And because there's no problem in having either of those goals. Which kind of end of the spectrum were you with starting the duo?
I think it was more about just getting a fan base. That's something that we'd never really had. Or I'd never really had. I don't know about you. I mean, my Cycle Madness had a fan base.
Ish. It wasn't massive. It wasn't massive fan base. It was bits and bobs, you know, mainly from Derby, not so much the country. But I think our goal was to definitely get that, and like I say, just recruit Scribble fans from around the country, wasn't it, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe playing something like Wembley Stadium. That would have been wicked. I think it's one of those things. Though, it evolved as it sort of went on, and then I think the more that we played, the more we wanted to just play in different cities, and it became like it was like an addiction to just play as much as possible. And it was, I think, for me, I really wanted to record, but I think gigging's always been like a bigger thing. Like we just used to like go on like Open Mic Finder, and then just rock up in Manchester or like South London on a Thursday night. Now we've got work the next morning, and just because we used to share a flat together, we were just like, mate, I just found an open mic. It's like, oh yeah, wicked. Yeah, where is it? It's like, yeah, Deptford, mate, South London, and we were like, yeah, can do. And then we'd just do it, and then we'd end up playing last because it was like such a big occasion. And there's like a YouTube video that was doing it, and it was like, it was really nice because you go there, you'd meet like so many different like-minded people. I think we realised how different we were on the acoustic scene, like to like other people, and it was just interesting just to see what that reaction was like around the country, because obviously we played in Derby and it was like, oh yeah, nice one, yeah, and we played in Nottingham, and then when you go further afield, you just kind of like think to yourself, oh, will that translate to like what's going on in London and stuff, or like what's going on in Manchester or Birmingham, and it was nice to see that it did. So it became a bit more of an addiction. So I think as time went on, meeting people and making friends became more important. And you don't, when you sort of like set that goal of sort of like, oh yeah, you've got to like release albums and then sort of like make money and then you tour it and all that sort of stuff. I think that became like a bit of a byproduct. Well, our goal that was the byproduct is now actually why we do it, and that's for just going out and meeting people and making friends. I don't know if I'm speaking for you.
100%, man. Yeah, I feel exactly the same. You know,
Yeah.
It was. I mean, because of what we've done in the past 5, 6, 7 years, we've made some amazing friends that you never ever would have even spoken to ever in your life. You know, and we owe all that to music, to have some really, really deep and meaningful relationships with these people.
To be fair, it's quite a risky move as well. If you're driving all the way to Manchester, you could get there and there's 2 people there, especially on an open mic. So that's quite. But you know, I think that's what it comes down to when you're starting out. Is kind of everything you can. If you don't, you got to I think you got to have those moments of maybe like showing up and 2 people are there, and then it makes the good times even better.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
When you do eventually play those gigs where you've got a good bunch of people there, you kind of go, it was all worth it.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
So you said earlier you were writing some new songs. How does a Scribble Victory song start? Is it kind of Jamie comes up with the kind of bass of the song and then goes, do you like it? And you say no. And then you start again, or how does it kind of work?
Well, that never happens, because usually like is it? No, I mean, to be honest, that is pretty much it. So without me saying no to it.
Yeah.
But no, so you'll probably have a bit of a jam at home, or like record something on your phone with some lyrics, and then sort of bring it to the practice room. That's one way. Another way is just jamming. Like I've always been, I think we've both been such massive advocates for just getting in the room and just jamming, because you never know what's going to come out. And arguably some of our best songs have come from just being in a room and just blasting something out.
Yeah.
It won't have lyrics at that point, but it will certainly have the basis of a structure anyway by the time we've finished in the course of 3-4 hours, whatever it is, and then sort of record it on our phones just so that we don't forget it, and then we'll take it and listen to it, really ingrain it, and then think of ways that we can improve it, whether it's taking something out, adding something in, and then also just and you'll obviously work on lyrics, whether it's something that you've already got in the bank or whether it's something you want to write fresh. I mean, these 4 new songs that we've done are pretty much a mix of both of that, really, isn't it? I mean, you've kind of formed at least 2 or 3 of them previously, brought them to the practice room. I think, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes we'll do that and then you'll come and bring it in, and then it'll almost take a turn and it'll sort of sound completely different to what we maybe originally wanted it to sound like.
So you both sing. I know, Jamie, you do the most, kind of the lead singing.
Yeah.
You do harmonies, don't you?
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
Harmonies is something I know that people out there struggle with, something I've always struggled with. How does that kind of work, and how was it kind of learning the harmonies, or is it just something that came natural?
No, I think in the beginning it was quite difficult. It was something that we definitely had to work at, and we wanted the harmonies to be quite understated. I think because we were very soft, weren't we, at the start? We didn't have much of a. We were a lot more like wild and raucous now, but we were a lot more understated back when we were first writing stuff, and so we wanted the harmonies to be understated. And I quite like the idea of doing like a lot of really projecting stuff off mic as well, and we found that was quite impressive. I think there was one time, it was an open mic, we ended up playing in Huddersfield, I think it was, and there was just these 2 guys, and they just did this song, and they were harmonising it, and that was really nice. And there was another band that I never ever actually saw, but I saw them on YouTube, called Cannon Street. And it was these 2 girls, and they were like sisters, and they were like harmonising everything. And I thought, wow, that's like the way that they're doing, because they weren't just like harmonising, they were sort of like interweaving into each other, and they were like both taking, like one was sort of like doing the low harmony, and then we switched to the high, and then the low harmony would come in from the other one, and then it's like sort of meandering between between themselves. And I thought, wow, that's really impressive to actually use that as a structure. And so because we're so there's not really a lot of elements to our music, adding that as using the harmony as almost like a bit of a thickening sound, or a bit of a lead sound, almost as another instrument, I thought was a really, really good way to go. So, yeah, do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I found it really difficult to start, because I've never been a singer. Never. I did probably some overdubs on an old My Psych album, but I used to sing the low stuff, so or really low stuff, which now is total opposite. I'll sing the high stuff. But the good thing about us is, I mean, you've got pretty much the same register as I have. You can get the high notes and the low notes as well. But for me, the hardest thing I found with harmonies as well wasn't just the actual aspect of singing it. It was singing and playing drums at the same time. So that's why I think initially the harmonies were understated, so I could play and sing. But as time's gone on, we've tried to push it, so that we've, as Jamie just said, we are a bit more sort of raucous, probably taking more influence from stuff like pop punk and stuff like that, really. Yeah. That kind of thing, and have that like third layer. It's almost like having a third member in a weird way, and it, like you say, really thickens up the sound. So yeah, 100% agree.
Cool. So other bands out there that are kind of just starting, or may have been together for a couple of years, what kind of advice would you give them? Would you say just to keep doing what you're doing, or
just give up?
Give up.
Yeah, give up, mate. And obviously getting to join them. No, I think obviously it's a lot more difficult, but going out and meeting people, don't ever accept yourself. That's going to sound really weird. Don't ever think that you've reached your peak. No matter how old you get, don't ever think it's too late to start playing guitar, or learning an instrument, or singing. Singing is a big thing for a lot of people. I know it is. But someone once told me it's 90% confidence. So the more you do it, the easier it gets. So playing open mics, networking, meeting people from all around the country, enjoy the experience of it. That's probably my advice. Don't just go in there. We've met a few people who said, I'm literally doing this to get famous, and like I say, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's also good to manage your own expectations as well. And I think if you go into music thinking that it's all about you, it's a bad way, because people will start thinking of you as being quite a selfish person in that way. So watch the support acts, watch the other bands on the bill. That's really hypocritical. Like us, we just rock up for our set and then go. Go to open mics. Do a week in London, just touring the open mic circuit if you can. Crash on a mate's sofa, do the museums in the day like we did, and then do the open mics in the evening. Don't be afraid to sort of like take that trip up to an open mic in Huddersfield, because you never know. There's a lot of good communities out there who are really welcoming, and if you've made that trip to flipping, I don't know, Newark, say, to play some guy's pub because you've heard about an open mic, people were really welcoming about that, because they think to themselves, crikey, this person's actually made that trip, and you will be welcomed. Even if there are two people there, one of the people that may be there may have a contact, and that's how we've sort of, certainly back in the older days, you make friends. They say, oh, I'm putting on this charity night, do you want to play this? I know it won't be able to pay you, but it might be a good experience, and some people sort of turn their nose up at that sort of stuff. But I think a big thing is, don't be afraid to, when you're starting out, to just perform for free, enjoy the experience, enjoy the travel, go to places you haven't been before, and I think that's a massive thing.
Just kind of the old kind of thing of, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah,
so get
absolutely.
out there and know as many people as you can.
Exactly, yeah. And I think as well as it's just good. It's good for experience. We've had some absolutely terrible gigs, and sometimes you'll have a run of terrible gigs, and you think to yourself, crikey, this is absolutely awful. But I think it just makes it all the more worth it when you get that one gig where everything just lines up. There might be just 10 people in the room, and you're just having a laugh with the 10 people in the room, and it doesn't matter for half an hour to 2 hours or whatever. Being a musician, you're one of the most important people in the room, and from an ego perspective, that's great. But as well, to sort of come off stage and then just be nice to people, just be friendly. I think that's the biggest piece of advice. Don't think that you're bigger than your boots.
Yeah,
definitely.
So something that is very popular at the minute that wasn't around probably 5 years ago is BBC Introducing, and they're helping so many bands out there. I know they've given you support over the years. How important do you think that is for kind of new artists, kind of giving people that first radio play, giving them that boost that they need?
Oh, it's massive. It's massive. I mean, in our area, we've got Dean Jackson, I think he's got the biggest sort of surface area of the country out of all of the BBC Introducing, and just him alone. I mean, he's promoted hundreds, if not thousands, of people, and when it's amazing when you get your song on the radio, it's something to shout about, isn't it? It's like, oh, I'm on the radio. It's amazing. And then you hear it, and the thing is as well, like with the local radio stations, I think probably let's just say the younger generation probably don't realise potentially how many people still listen to radio. and there's actually a lot more people than you'd actually think that listen to the radio at that time as well. It's Saturday nights, isn't it? Usually BBC introducing, certainly in Derby anyway. And you know, sometimes we've had it before where our song's been on, we've had sort of tweets or messages saying on the radio, and it's just like you forget how many people actually listen to it. And the thing is as well, not only do they do the BBC uploading, the uploader, so you can upload your songs and get them on the radio, but they put on loads of gigs as well. You know? And those gigs are usually really, really well attended. And it's just something that I think is some people may forget about at times. But yeah, absolutely. If you've got a song to upload, do it, because chances are you may get played.
Do you remember where it was the first time you heard yourself on the radio?
Do you know what? Live, the first time I caught myself on the radio, I had to pop to Tesco to get some. This is really.
You didn't followed when you had to get some alcohol.
Yeah, no. I think I actually went to go and get some pop. I was like, I've got a thirst that only orange age will quench, you know. And I was in the car, and then like I just turned on the radio. I was like, oh, I recognise this. Oh, they're playing 17. Oh yeah. And then I was just like, I literally parked the car, whacked my hazards on the side of the road, and then just like obviously turn my engine off. But then, if any police are listening, and then literally I think I just like videoed the screen of a car saying BBC Radio Derby, it's Scribble Victory 17. I was like, oh mate, this is wicked. But yeah, so that was the first time. That was really nice. Yeah.
Live for me, I've never heard myself live on the radio because it sounds really bad. But every time it's come on the Saturday, I've always missed it. I knew it's coming. I've always missed it.
Gigging.
Always gigging. Yeah. So I've always actually missed it, and then we watched it on like the BBC Sounds. Yeah. But I remember, I think what was our first song on the radio? Was it Baby Steps?
I can see Jamie's mind working.
I really can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
Let's just say it was 17 for argument's sake anyway. And so I remember hearing it, and it was just I think for me, hearing the song on the radio is so good.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because we got such nice feedback from Dean and his guys on the radio show. It's just like, it just really kind of, you know, me personally, I started welling up. It was really nice.
Yeah.
And since then, I mean, every time we do a song now, we always put it all down.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, I bet.
No, I just remember we attended one of their music events. You know, like the confetti do.
Oh yeah, I've been to a couple.
Yeah, we attended one of those, and Dean Jackson was there. And I remember we were sort of like, it's Dean Jackson there. It's like I remember this was before he played us, and we were like, I've submitted about 3 songs, and he's still not played us. So we actually confronted him, and we're like, hey Dean, here's our CD. We've submitted our song about 3 times now, and he was like, really? What are you calling Scribble Victory? Oh, okay. Well, that's bizarre. We should have got played. And I think ever since then, I think I'm still adamant that we intimidated him. And we just sort of like went in there. I was like, and I just sort of, he's like, yeah. He says, well, look into that. And I was like, I Dean, think on.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I'm not gonna lie, I did the exact same thing at the exact same event. I went up to him because I was in a little act at the time, but the recording was very rubbish. But at the time, I was like, why? Explain yourself. And he said exactly the same thing. I'll look into it. Yeah. And then a couple months later, he did play one.
Yeah.
So
the man of his word.
Yeah. Well, I have emailed him and he hasn't replied. So if anyone knows him, give him a nudge. Because I'd love to sit down and chat with him. Anyway, enough of the negativity.
No, I actually really like Dean. I've had some really nice conversations.
He's a really nice fella.
He is nice, and you can see why he was a teacher. He's got a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Purely for entertainment purposes.
So let's move across to performance blunders. What's kind of been your best performance blunders? Firstly, mine was I was doing a gig playing drums, and there was a power cut.
Ooh.
So all the guitars cut out, and then I twisted it and did a drum solo.
Hey!
It's
nice.
It's on YouTube, but anyway, yeah. So that was kind of for a couple of minutes I was like, oh dear, and then I just went with it.
Just busted a solo out.
What's been your kind of any moments?
We had a similar thing. Actually, we played in Leicester.
Duffy's Bar.
Duffy's Bar in Leicester. That's right. Yeah, and similar thing happened. The power just completely went. And I think there was a couple of bands due to play, weren't there? And we decided let's just give it a go anyway.
Yeah.
And what did I end up playing on? It was like your guitar case, I think. I just like drummed along on James' guitar case while you sang and played, and we just sung with.
Unplugged?
Yeah, completely unplugged. Yeah, I can't remember if there's even any lights, was there? I don't think. We just kind of carried on. There was just candles, and then just got about the best of it.
Yeah.
Another one in York at the Spread Eagle in York, and another power cut.
Mate.
That wasn't a blunder. That was just a really bad gig.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So I remember. In fact, you tell it. You were trying to sort out the mixing desk, weren't you?
Yeah. So we got invited. We got invited to play a place in York, and it was our first time in York, and we were like buzzing about it because it's like, oh yeah, it's York, you know. It's like, wow, the walled city, and we got there, and we were sort of like, oh well, yeah, we're running a bit behind, and we were like, oh okay, and I didn't realise they were actually running 3 hours behind, and then I was like, this is an all-dayer, and there was a band that were just sort of like they were really young, and they were just sort of like looking really awkward, just strumming their amps and stuff. And there was a guy there who was like just fiddling with the desk, and was like scratching his head and all this sort of stuff. And then he just disappeared. And then we were just sat there, and it must have been about half an hour. And I was just sort of like thinking to myself, oh, what's? So I went and spoke to the promoter, and I said, oh, what's going on? He says, oh yeah, we're struggling with the mixing desk. I says, well, so do you mind if I have a look at it? And they said, yeah, by all means, yeah. So I went and had a look, and I was like trying to figure it out, and I was like, everything was really, really badly distorted, and I thought, oh, I bet the power amp's blown. That's what it is.
Right.
But they didn't tell me that, so I was like, okay. Anyway, you know how you get like dad managers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the dadager. That's what
Dadager.
So this dadager came over, and he was just like, what the flipping heck are you playing at?
You can't swear.
Oh, okay. No, okay. Yeah. He says, I think he said, what are you playing at? He says, I've been waiting. We're about my lads up there. He says, we've been waiting around now for about 3 hours. And he says, and the gig's still not gone on. A load of people have come in. They've all left. And blah blah. And I just sort of looked at him and I went, I'm not the sound guy. And he goes, well, what are you doing? He says, you're doing the sound. I said, no, I'm one of the bands. I'm trying to help. He goes, oh right, we've come all the way from Sheffield. And I was like, yeah, we've come all the way from Derby. And he was like, oh. Oh right, okay. And then he just sort of like just went, oh, feel sorry for you. And I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, nice one. So that was an awful gig.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the other time we played York, we did a wedding? Your car broke, your power steering went. So like York's like really like narrow streets, isn't it? Yeah. So we ended up playing this this like wedding venue, and it's like proper like really tight corners and stuff like that, and that's the opportune moment that Tom's power steering went.
Oh mate!
And then you don't mind if I tell this one?
Go for it. Yeah. It's a good story.
So anyway, we ended up getting some money for this wedding. We were like really chuffed with it, and we were like, yeah, this was definitely worth coming up. And then your power steering went, and your steering was really heavy. And then I think like we literally had to like. People coming up saying you're going to have to vacate this space because we need it for the guests, and we were like, yeah, we know, we can't get anywhere. So anyway, this like recovery van came up, and it's like it was a proper character, wasn't it?
Oh my god, yeah.
And it was just like there, he's like on the radio, he's like, hey up, he's like best ring the missus. And he's like, hey up love, yeah, put dog in dinner. So put dinner in dog. Right, he did say that. Put dinner in dog. He says, yeah, I've. So where are you? When I'm doing a job, I'm going to take these lads back to Derby. Fucking Derby! And it's just like
Genuinely said that as well.
Fucking Derby! That has always been a buzzword for me. So like back to fucking Derby! And it's like the F silent. It's fucking Derby! And that's the soundbite, isn't it? And then eventually we got dropped off. I think it was like Woodall Services.
It was, yeah.
And we just sort of like sat there, and the bloke says, "Hey up, yeah, we're gonna swap over vans, so the other recovery van will come and pick you up from the services. An hour and a half we waited, no fucking sign showed up, and we were like, I don't think he's coming. So you ended up ringing. You tell it from here.
Yeah, I ended up ringing Hastings. Long story short, I ended up ringing Hastings direct. They said, "Oh yeah, we'll send someone out. It's going to be about 2.5 hours." I was like, "I'm just going to drive it."
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, we really don't recommend you." I'm sorry, I'm not waiting 2.5 hours. It was late on at night at this point, wasn't it? It was probably about 10:30.
Yeah.
So luckily, there wasn't much on the road. But honestly, to steer it, it was like I've never driven a tank, but I can imagine it's like,
Yeah.
oh god, it was horrendous. But yeah, that guy, I think that guy made it because I was quite visibly annoyed.
I bet at the time you weren't happy, and then I bet the next morning you were laughing.
Yeah. Well, you say that. I couldn't afford to fix it. It could have cost nearly $2,000 to fix.
It couldn't have been that bad, could it? Because we drove around it about 6 months. Like
At least 6 months of going on driving.
That's wicked, that is.
Oh god.
Fucking Derby. That's the. I'm going to put that as a jingle or something. So anyway, just the last couple of things. What artists are you enjoying at the minute, or songs are you enjoying at the minute? Whether local people or full-on chart people, what are you enjoying at the minute?
At the minute, that's a good question. I am.
Doesn't have to be new. Can be anything.
Okay.
What are you
just vibing on that.
What's on your iPod Nano?
Well, to be funny enough, iPod Nano. Clip to me belt.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of podcasts, to be honest, but music-wise, I'm really. It sounds really weird, but I'm digging the new Slaughter to Prevail song.
Okay.
So really just like a bit of metal, but I'm also listening to electronic stuff. So like a guy called Max Cooper, Alex Banks, really good. So that's kind of my taste at the minute. It's kind of electronic and metal really. Local wise, I mean, I can never really get enough of the Fine Arts Society.
Okay, nice.
They're absolutely awesome. I mean, that's who we used to share this room with.
Yeah.
But they write some absolutely banging songs, and they've moved to a new premises in Nottingham, isn't it now?
No.
Where is it? Spalding?
No, it's off. No, it's Derby, isn't it? Somewhere. It's near Barclays Bank, near where I used to live. Remember? Stores Road.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I know.
Don't give too much detail, they'll get it wrong.
Yeah, they don't lock up.
I think it's Unit 7.
But yeah, I mean, they do their own sort of stuff on Ben Records, and they're sort of churning out. Not the right word to use, but they're producing some really good stuff at the minute. So I highly recommend checking them out.
Wicked. And yourself?
Pop.
Yeah,
I can never get enough of pop. Canadian sort of punk band, amazing. Really recommend.
I've never heard of them.
Honestly, mate, I really recommend checking them out. I reckon you'd like them actually.
Okay.
They kind of remind me. Someone like made a real rough comparison to My Chemical Romance. I think that's really unfair. I think they've got a lot more going on than them.
First time I've brought
Really?
Future's Sweet Revenge.
Yeah.
Just because of the front cover of two bloody people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's not a bad album to be honest. They're not Taking Back Sunday, are they? But they're but no, Pop Man, and who else have we been listening to? There was a really good. Yeah, the new Owen album. That's really good. Owen, if you like, sort of. Yeah, Mike Kinsella is essentially my guitar idol, really. I met Owen, Mike Kinsella, at the Maze.
Okay.
And I got him to punch me in the face. I thought, because when you meet you know when they say don't meet your heroes, and I thought to myself, I don't really want to meet him, so I thought, well, I've got to come up with an elaborate thing to sort of like make myself, because if this falls on its arse, because I met Steve Coogan as well, and that was really awkward. But when I met Mike Kinsella, I thought I would be really upset if like he turns out to be a cock. And he actually wasn't. He was a really nice guy, and I'm really glad that I met him. But I got him to punch me. I got him to like take a picture of him as if he was punching me in the face.
God, yeah.
But he was really hard, and he actually nearly bruised my jaw just through putting pressure because he wanted to make it look like it was authentic. So yeah, that was nice. But yeah, Owen, Mike Kinsella, great guitarist.
Nice. So, what are your plans for the rest of the year? Obviously, with what's happening, is it kind of you're going to take it a bit easy for the rest of the year?
It's kind of going week on week at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have some sessions lined up with Marshall Productions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there might be something coming up there. We've had an offer to be on a collaboration, or to collaborate with somebody else, but I don't know whether that's going to happen. So I won't say too much on that. But just like a local artist. So
Okay.
I think just playing a lot more gigs, but again it's kind of like week in, week out, and a lot of them have been like weather dependent as well.
Okay.
So like we had one gig where we just like rocked up, and then I went, "Hey, up, we're here for the gig," and the bloke, the manager, just sort of like looked out the window and went, "It's pissing it down." He goes, "Fucking joking, mate." And it just sort of like was like, "Oh mate, like, yeah, well we're here now," and he was sort of like, "Yeah, well, yeah, there's no point in you playing because it's pissing it down out there. No one's going to watch you." And I said, he says, "And you'll get wet through." I said, "Oh, nice one." And I was thinking, "Oh, great." So anyway, yeah, well, sorry lads. And I was like, "Yeah, no worries, all right." He goes, "Oh, just wait there. I need to talk to the wife." Anyway, he comes back. He's like, "Grandad," he gives us £20 each. He goes, "Here you are for your trouble. Please get yourself a drink." And I stayed for a drink, so we stopped for a drink and then came back here and then did some more woodwork. But it wasn't a wasted afternoon, was it? But
No, he's a dead nice guy, and luckily we're playing there this weekend, aren't we now, actually?
Yeah,
we've got there this weekend, so that'll be alright.
Not weather dependent, or?
Probably. Who knows? But and writing, and hopefully, if we've got the time and the money and the chance to, I'd me personally, I'd love to record.
Yeah.
But it's whether we've got the time this year. Because
it's been a while since you put something out, isn't it?
Yeah. The last single we put out was Lucky, and that was, when was that? February time? Was it early this year, I think?
Yeah. So it's not been that.
Yeah. So probably about 6-7 months ago. But with these new 4 songs, I mean, I came with the idea. I'd love to do it as an EP. Whether we do or not is a different thing. Whether it's doing a couple of singles. Yeah, it'd be really nice to do something sort of, instead of, not that there's, I love just putting out singles because we always do our own videos as well. So it'd be nice to do that, and we'll do an EP and then put a single off it, definitely. But we've not really talked about it much yet, so it's just kind of in the pipeline potentially. So we'll see.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, last thing, where can people check you out online and stuff?
Tinder. So yeah, Tinder's the first one. Grindr as well. Plenty of fish. All of those. No. You can find me on there.
Check us out on Twitch.
Twitch. Yeah. Badoo. No. So in all seriousness, we've got. In all seriousness, come on now. Seriously now. We've got Facebook, so all our social media handles are the same. So just Scribble Victory, all one words.
Yeah.
Facebook, search Scribble Victory. Instagram, search Scribble Victory again. That's probably where we're most active, I would say, Instagram. The reason for that is because Jamie looks after that, I don't, so that's why it's the most active one. We're if you want to listen to our music, we're on Spotify, again, just search Scribble Victory. Also, if you want to listen to and buy, our music, you can go onto Bandcamp, so scribblevictory.bandcamp.com. iTunes as well, Apple Music. We've done that thing where you go, it's a tune call gone through, so it gets put out onto Deezer and all that sort of stuff that no one ever listens to, you know. Tidal.
Wicked, so thank you very much for coming on. Really appreciate it. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, thanks for having us.
I never know how to end these things.
Well, thanks for
if
coming.
If you listen to episode 1 and 2, I'm literally both times I do not know how to end this. But anyway, people can check out Like I Am at Like I Am Pod on Instagram and all that stuff. If you want to go
follow it now.
Give us a review on
TripAdvisor.
TripAdvisor or I've lost now, on Apple Podcasts, that's it, and then Spotify Podcast, all that stuff, every little helps. So thank you very much, gents.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming to
And I don't know, bye.
Yeah.
Just see ya.
Trout up.
See ya. Thank
See ya.
you. Bye.
Fucking damn it.
Fucking damn it. Cheers.
That was wicked.
Awesome.